Well, Gary, big win at Dartford, I thought.
Yeah, especially on the back of, as you know, we've gone there and struggled before. I think it's the first time we've ever got anything at all there. So yeah, good, and the lads come back after conceding a poor goal, showed a lot of character, and was well worth the win in the end.
If you're going to concede, I suppose you may as well concede inside 45 seconds.
Well, yeah, I mean it gives you a long time then to get back in the game, but just the manner of the goal, was something which wasn't acceptable in terms of the way we set up and stuff. So yeah, that was well, in all fairness, the only disappointment on the day. After that, it was one way.
If you look at the Christmas period as a whole, I suppose the obvious disappointment is 2 home defeats.
Yeah, certainly the Southport one. Because I didn't think we sort of got anywhere near what we're capable of. We sort of often puffed a little bit against the team who made it difficult for us. But I think other than that, the Forest Green, the reverse, it's always difficult against a side like that. Who, they've got plenty of ammunition, obviously, in terms of the squad and the players. And 2 games against them was going to be tough. So yeah, probably the Southport one. Disappointing that we never got nothing at all.
Moving on then, this weekend of course, the FA Trophy and Altrincham here. I mean, if you've been honest, the chances of Harriers winning the FA Cup in any given season are pretty remote, but the FA Trophy is a distinct possibility.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's something that we talked about before the Bradford game, the Bradford Park Avenue game. It's an important game for us this Saturday, and we want to stay in the trophy as long as possible and give it our best shot. So yeah, it's an important game coming up on Saturday.
That was a good win at Bradford Park Avenue. You've been there often enough to know that's not easy.
Well, again, similar to Dartford, we always struggle there, and it's a hard place to go. So, again, the lads went there, on a Monday night and showed a lot of character and played some good football as well. So, yeah, I think we showed on our travels this season that we've got plenty about us.
I suppose all we can ask for in a cup competition is to be drawn at home, and you've got that.
Yeah, obviously that's an advantage. We've got to make sure that we make that advantage count now, and we need to be right on Saturday, because Altrincham are on a good run of form at the moment. So it's going to be a tough game, and it's a game that we're desperate to try and get a win.
Whenever I'm looking for a side I think might do well in the trophy, you're always looking for someone just on the outskirts of the playoffs, perhaps, in the Conference Premier, and whose mind isn't solely focused on winning the title, and you come into that bracket really.
Yeah, no, I think maybe we haven't got the sort of depth of squad that certainly some of those clubs have, in this league now. So a lot of them tend to rotate now for the trophy, and if I could say, you put out weaker teams, and we're not in that position. So we're certainly focused, as I said earlier, on doing well in the trophy, and we'll be putting our strongest team out on Saturday.
Altrincham, you say, in a decent vein of form at the moment. Reeves is one player who always looks fairly sharp for them.
Yeah, he's always scored goals at this level. So yeah, he's definitely one to watch. I think he got the winner against us in the league earlier on this season. So yeah, up at their place, we was disappointed that day that we came away from that game with nothing. So another reason why we want to turn that round on Saturday.
But in the league meeting here, you were way too strong for them, really.
Yeah, we was. We were comfortable that night. But I think, to be fair to them, they was probably finding the feet a little bit in the division. And since then, they've been strong, and obviously a good win last time out against Eastleigh. So yeah, it'll be a tough game.
Away from Altrincham, on the broader picture, of course, we are in the January transfer window. Any news on that front, either way, in or out?
No, not at the moment. I mean, it'd be nice if we can sort of juggle a few things round and maybe bring 1 or 2 in. We'll be looking to do that. Nothing's happened at the moment, but I think to give the lads a little bit of a push, people coming in, it always works both ways. The ability of the player coming in and gives the rest of the dressing room a lift. So yeah, if we can do, obviously mindful of the financial situation, we'll try and do something. But at the moment, no inquiries as yet for any of our lads.
The club has obviously come to an arrangement with Michael Gash, so that contract's been mutually cancelled. Does that give you a little bit more scope?
I think it's potentially maybe, but obviously, there's bills to be paid as well. So if there is any surplus money from that, and obviously the club will have to decide where that needs to be spent. But I wish Michael all the best. Just missed out on promotion when he first came here, when we lost out to Mansfield. So he needs to move on now and hopefully gets himself a club.
I've known you a long time, and also you're very realistic when it comes to the position you find yourselves in as a manager. But it must be a frustration, really. You start getting a squad together, and then financial constraints come in, you have to sort of offload players, really.
Yeah, that's always frustrating because, you know, in the ideal situation now, Michael Gash coming in and firing like when he did when he first came here is ideal to push us on from where we are. But, you know, as I said on many times, the most important thing is the football club and the longevity of that, and you know, we have to be sort of putting that first and foremost. And, you know, luckily we've managed to keep the lads going, and, you know, keeps us in with the shout of being in the playoffs and that. So, you know, that's a good thing for the club.
Injury front, Josh Gowling, first of all, what's the latest news on him?
Yeah, Josh is not that far away now. He's worked hard to get himself fit again. Unfortunately, this week it's going to be a little bit too early for that, but yeah, I should imagine by this time next week, then, fingers crossed, hopefully we can get Josh back involved, and obviously he's an important member of the team.
And how are you doing besides?
The only other one missing this week is Alan Verma. In terms of his back, I think we pushed him back a little bit too quickly for the game against Forest Green, so a little bit of caution with him this time. Nothing serious, but, you know, as he's proved over the last few weeks, he's an important player to us as well, so we want to sort of just err on the side of caution a little bit with him this time.
That's a great shame for him, really, because if we're being honest, he's had a few critics here. He gets a couple of goals in one game and then picks up an injury.
Yeah, I think he's, over the last probably 5, 6 weeks, 2 months, you know, I've seen the other side of him, which I know, you know, he's capable of doing. He's a good player, he's versatile, he can score goals, you know, he always works his socks off and that, and he's a valuable member of the team, and just a little bit sad that when he's been just finding his feet, he's picked up a couple of niggling injuries, so hopefully, like I say, being a bit cautious with him, we can have him back and he can have a run in the team and just replicate the form he was showing, because he was starting to show that he's an important player for us.
Final point, Gary, when we spoke, I think it was just ahead of the Lincoln game, just before Christmas, I said to you then, if you could get to the turn of the year and still be there or thereabouts, well, you've done that. Yeah,
and like I say, fair play to the guys, you know, and the players. They deserve a massive pat on the back for that, but, you know, I think now we can start to sort of get the bit between our teeth and see where we are, and, you know, just keep having a go at it, and like I've always said, as long as we're getting the best out of these lads, which I think we are, or we have been doing definitely, then who knows, you know, we got ourselves in a position where we've got as good a chance as any of the others in the top 10 at the minute.
And very last one, I should ask one thing. We just spoke to the groundsman and explained the problems he's been facing lately.
Yeah.
Again, that's a frustration, but I guess you just have to get on with that, do you?
Yeah, we're well aware of that. The pitch it is what it is, I'm afraid. You know, it's not ideal, and I'm sure the groundsman's told you that. But, you know, what we can't afford to do is let that affect our own form in any shape or form. You know, we've got to find a way to win here, and, you know, we're doing our best to try and do that. And our record here at home's always been good, so, you know, we've got to keep that in mind, and it's our pitch, if you like, and we've got to make it play to our advantage.